Hey love.
What?
If it works, it works.
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to tell you a story. It's a story of a small town and the people that live in it. Like any small town, it has roads, a hospital, restaurants, a post office, a bank, clothing stores, a railway, small houses, big houses, old houses, new houses, a golf course, and it even has a beach. But before I share the stories of this place that I now call home, I'm going to tell you my story and how I came to live in this strange little place. My name is Mike. I'm a 31-year-old and I've lived in South Africa all my life. I was born in Johannesburg to a loving family with an older brother, James, that's him here, and soon after I also had a younger sister, Courtney. Here is my mom and dad. In this picture they were just getting married, so they're a bit older now. We had an often crazy but very privileged upbringing. As kids we went to good schools, we spent afternoons playing in the streets with other neighborhood kids, and always had food on the table to come home to in the evenings. We have our mom and dad to thank for that. When I was 10 or 11, we moved to Cape Town. The next few years were different. I went through my teenage years not really knowing where I fit in.
See, I was good at sport, but I also liked fringe stuff like skateboarding, surfing, and I loved music. So I learned how to play a bunch of instruments and even started a band. Man, we were pretty good. That didn't matter though. What mattered was it was fun and it gave us a sense of purpose. And although I didn't realize it, but playing in the band would give me some skills that would come in very handy a little bit later on.
By this time it was the mid-2000s. My mom and dad had moved away from Cape Town to a place up north called Nelspruit. They moved there for my dad's work. And what was going to be a week-long holiday trip to visit them turned into 4 years of starting my career. Over dinner one night with a program manager at the radio station, I was offered my very first paying role in radio. And this would be the turning point in my life. It wasn't much. I was basically a paid intern. But I was just happy to be doing what I loved and getting paid for it. A sweet deal when you're in your early 20s. My background in production from playing in the band also meant that I could help out in the production studio, recording interviews and producing clips. At night I would do the overnight radio shows.
I worked my ass off for that station, but I loved it. And it was also around that time that social media really began to take off. And I started to realize that radio shows can make some really good content and put it online and interact with the audience in real time. Something that hadn't really been there before.
Life in Nelspruit for a few years was great. I was out of the big city, I could concentrate on my career. I didn't have to worry about the noise, the rent, the distractions. The weather is good and the surrounding landscapes are incredible. Okay, so we've got a slight problem. This is a very important part of the story because it was in Nelspruit where I met Taryn, and Taryn is now my wife. See, so the story goes that I was invited to a birthday party from a friend. He happened to be sharing his birthday party with Taryn. He invited me because Taryn had recently moved back to Nelspruit from Cape Town, and he thought that we might hit it off really well. Well, he was right. So much so that a month later we moved in together. The problem is though, I've been through all of my drives and I can't find any video footage from when Taryn and I first met in Nelspruit. But the important part was what was going to happen to us next. And that was, we moved to Joburg together. Okay, back to the story.
While Taryn worked in advertising, I landed a job at the biggest independent radio station in the country. I was now the producer of the second biggest show on the largest commercial radio station in South Africa. Being a producer means that every single day you are constantly pushing your boundaries to create something new. You have a very limited amount of time to learn everything that you can about a new subject and then turn it into something that people will enjoy listening to and eventually watching. It's like Groundhog Day, except you're always on fire. And so you're pushed into new places that you might not have considered otherwise. For me, this new place was film, and specifically producing video content and stories over and above running the daily show. I started seeing how it all ties together and how everything you do connects your audience to your story and turns them into conversations. My editing style evolved from really rudimental storytelling to complex projects that went from a few hours to a few weeks to produce. Somewhere in all the madness, we took a family holiday to Thailand, and I asked Taryn to marry me. She said yes. It was also on this trip that I decided that if I was going to chase my passion, I needed to find a way to exit radio and concentrate on producing film.
This place is nuts!
I don't want to downplay the incredible couple of years that I spent in radio and with the incredible people that I spent in radio. But it was time to move on. And not long after getting back from that holiday in Thailand, and I was approached by a film company that I'd done some work with on the radio show a couple of months before.
They liked the way I did things, and most importantly, they liked the way I think.
So they offered me the role of head of marketing.
My dream was coming true. I was going to be paid to make stuff happen for a movie that you can go and see in a theater with popcorn and slush puppy. We filmed an epic movie and worked tirelessly to release it less than a year later. The film did well and went on to win a few awards locally and internationally. In this time, I had the best day of my life. Taryn and I got married, and soon after decided to move back to our real home, Cape Town, so that we can start a family. So we packed up our lives and headed for the Cape, and soon found the perfect home. So this has allowed me the space to start writing my own stories. 10 years on from starting my career, I have a wife who I love and she loves me, a house that we both love, and a little town called Fishhook. And I am determined to find the stories here that also need telling. Fishhook is unlike any other place I've ever been. It's close to the city, yet it has this weird feeling of a throwback to the 1990s. Kids still play on the street here. Within a 3-mile radius, it boasts both humbleness and extravagance, decay and defiance.
There's a saying that goes around here that Fishhook is for the newlyweds and nearly deads. But take a closer look and you'll be very surprised to see what you find.
This year marks 100 years since Fishhook declared itself to the world as a town. So now, I'm going to find the stories in Fishhook and help them be told, just like mine. I hope you'll come on this journey with me. Who knows what I'll find? Who knows how long it's going to take? What I do know is the only way to make something happen is to just begin.
Well, this is it. It's the town limit of Fishhook. So I guess I'll start here.